Hello, Susan. Please introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about both your personal and professional experience.
Well, hello, and thank you for speaking with me. My name is Susan Rabkin, and I'm on the board of directors of Ellie's Place. On a personal level, I'm married to a wonderful husband, almost 40 years, just under 40 years, and I have two amazing sons. We lived in Toronto for many years. Then we moved to London, Ontario, and we lived there for about 21 years. And then we moved back to Toronto again about 2 years ago. Sort of shifted between the two places. I originally studied fine arts in both the United States and in Europe. I did lithography and painting. And then I switched gears and I studied law at Osgoode Hall Law School in Toronto. I love to go on long walks. We were talking about walking today with some snow. I'm also into fitness and distance running. I've been running for years. And I also do portrait painting, to go back to my old world. I do painting, and I love to travel. Right now, of course, that's not happening, but my husband and I have been to a lot of great places and plan to do so in the future. On a professional level, as I mentioned, I studied law. So as a corporate lawyer, I started out in private practice, but then I went into the corporate world, and I was the head of legal in 3 different Canadian-based international multinationals. It was covered a broad range of industries. It was in both chemicals, building products, and then the last one was fast-moving consumer goods. So it was a very fast-paced business. I kind of think of myself as a business person. I enjoyed the challenges of those jobs and working at the senior level, really at the very senior levels. And I did a lot of international transactions. And I also really enjoyed building very talented teams. I worked with great people. It was in all the businesses, really exciting to do that. And then I retired about 10 years ago. I took early retirement. And ever since that time, I've devoted myself to not-for-profit boards so that I could give back to the communities that I never had a chance to while I was so busy working 24/7 pretty much. So I spent 6 years on the board of directors of the Children's Aid Society in London and Middlesex, located in London, and 6 years on the board of governors of Fanshawe College, one of the Ontario's largest colleges, and I even chaired that board for 2 years. And then, of course, now I'm participating on the board of Ellie's Place, and I've done that since 2018. So that's kind of the picture of both the personal and professional level.
Well, what a lovely story, and just like such a breadth of experiences that, again, like you have also contributed to your communities and to the greater good of the people, and I think that's awesome. So on the note of Ellie's Place, what motivated you to volunteer for Ellie's Place?
Well, when we came back to Toronto, I wanted to get involved with boards. I was in London, but now new in a sense back to Toronto. So I started exploring different opportunities. I was very motivated by Ellie's Place mission, which of course is to create the first in Canada long-term rural residential treatment and recovery-based program or center for young adults in Canada. And I believe there's a great need for such treatment for young adults who suffer severe mental illness. The idea behind Ellie's Place is really to help these young adults build competencies that will enable them to move from illness to resilience and develop life and work skills that'll allow them to successfully return to and reintegrate into the community. So it really is that recovery part through the care that they would get to give them a chance to be able to move back into the community. And I thought that was a very positive and important mission. And so I was motivated to seek out a role on the board for Ellie's Place.
I'm curious too, because is there like a specific moment or conversation, or maybe when you were volunteering, something that came up that kind of allowed you to shift gears within the mental health space, like, and make you so passionate about it? And I guess that also contributes to another question that I wanted to ask you about, like, why you want to add to this conversation of mental health. So where do your passions lie, and why do they lie within this space?
Yeah, very, very good questions. In the other boards that when I was working, it was very much corporate, 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 corporate. And once I got involved with child welfare through the Children's Aid Society and the college, which is really about access to education for everyone, I started to see some of the other sides of of society. Right, there's a lot of have-nots, and there are a lot of people who need extra support. I think mental health is an area that I think everybody recognizes more than ever is one where there's a lot of supports are needed. So I started to really see that, and I'm not an expert in that field, the field of mental health. We have many people on our board who are, but I see the gap, or the lack of support. And if anything, I mean, I know because I've seen statistics. There's a significant number of young people who are in that age range, 18 to 35, in the GTA and beyond, who experience serious mental illness. And it really interferes with their life activities. And it's a huge cost to society. So, COVID-19 hasn't made that any easier. The isolation and lack of support during this time has exacerbated, I think, the situation. So I would add that there's a lack of long-term residential mental health treatment programs. And that's what I've learned from my colleagues on the board in Ontario and in Canada for these young people. There really is a gap in providing that kind of support.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I hope that we can continue to kind of make that change, and get even organizations and the corporate world too to start talking about these things, because again, people should be top of mind all the time.
And just on that, Constantina, I think the corporate world is more focused on that now, and I think young people, young investors are more focused on it now. People want to be sure that where they're putting their money, if you will, is going to good things and supporting their communities. So I think I sense that it's a much healthier attitude that we find ourselves in today, both at the corporate level and just generally in society. I think people are more conscious that they need to do something to help others, because we all benefit.
That's a great point to say too. Like, again, the sky is the limit, and people are realizing and making change, and that's so important. Okay, and I guess my last question for you: what does our Ellie's Place tagline, "Where recovery grows," mean to you?
Well, I think the tagline underscores the passion behind our purpose, right? Because by providing treatment to these young adults, we fill that gap. We help fill that critical gap in the mental health care system. And we make, as we say, hopeful futures possible. So that is a very strong message and a very strong purpose. So I think it's a good one. It really is the recovery part, and really bringing people, to a better place, hopefully.
For sure. And I think we'll probably start to see that more and more people will resonate with this tagline too, because there is just so much purpose and meaning behind it. But yeah, thank you so much for your time and your insights, talking about why you're so passionate about the mental health space. I think this is a great discussion, and we are definitely very, very lucky to have you.
Thank you very much.